Hello, welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters bonus show. This is a show we make each and every week for our loyal patrons. We talk about the movie that we watched that is paired with the comic that we read for this week. This week we read Supernatural Thrillers 12, featuring Encantu the Living Mummy. Matt, you've given us a really good lineup of mummy movies, but I loved this detour that you took where it was under wraps. You didn't let people on the watch along know exactly what we were going to do. You told me, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well.
And you made the amazing decision. We watched a old 40s Superman cartoon about a mummy. We watched an episode of Fangface that had an underwater mummy for some reason. And then we watched an episode of Tales from the Crypt that was mummy based as well. And that was a full hour of just great programming. So congrats to you. It was so much fun.
Thank you. It was quite a coup. I went out afterwards and we were, painting the town red, having champagne everywhere in town, all the finest establishments, because it was pretty special.
It was very special. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get get nominated for a Watch Along Award at the end of the year.
Oh, that's
for people's consideration.
You know what? That's a thing now.
It should be.
Now it's a thing. A longie. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I mentioned before, I think that we talked a little bit on the air about, do we want to do some Universal Mummy sequels? Do we want to do The Hammer? What do we want to do? And I don't know. I just was feeling kind of like just mixing it up a little bit, just taking it out and chopping it up.
Mixing it up,
as Royal Tenenbaum would say. And I knew there was that old Superman because I forgot why I was looking around, but I found that when I was just looking at mummy cartoons, I think. And so we have to watch this. I mean, you can talk a bit about those old, folks, if you've never seen these old Supermans that were produced by Fleischer Studios, they're absolutely amazing. They were rotoscoped and hand painted each cell, and they are completely fluid and gorgeous and rich. And it is like the antithesis of what you think of when you think of animation post 1972, where, Shaggy and Scooby are running down a hallway and it's the same door and the same whatever and same crate every 3 seconds. This is the opposite of that. It was taking the stuff and it's like Miyazaki level of care and love and whatever into the medium. So, but you pointed out, I realized this one wasn't as stunning as some of the ones I've seen. And then you kind of shared in the watch along. This was not the first batch that were the golden standard of Superman shorts.
No. So I think the first 8 were made by Fleischer Studios. Fleischer Studios, founded by a couple of brothers who were amazing animators, amazing artists. They kind of pioneered the rotoscoping techniques for animation back in the day. I don't know, a good example is, the Betty Boop cartoon with Cab Calloway, the walrus, doing the dance, and to where it's lifelike because it is based on a living, moving person. And it's incredible. And it still really holds up. Like you watch that shit now, and you're just like, oh my God, that's so amazing and fluid and stuff. And this is at the birth of animation. It's so cool. And but Fleischer Studios, so they produced the first, I think 7 or 8 of the Superman cartoons. And like you said, they're gorgeous. I think they're some of the most gorgeous cartoons ever made. Absolutely, hands down. And, but what happened, so Fleischer Studios, they had some problems nearing the 40s. So they had some union problems. They had a lot of strike. A lot of animators were going on strike. They tried to do a full-length they did a full-length feature called Gulliver's Travels. And it was, Max's favorite book. And so they did this feature-length thing. And it's cool, but it kind of, they were going through Paramount Studios for a lot of this stuff. They were kind of a little, indie firm that was, kind of part of a wing of Paramount Studios. And so they got really into debt with Paramount for that. I think they said it was going to be, the budget was $500,000. It ended up being close to $2 million to complete it. And this is in 1930, whatever. And so, they were kind of fucked. And so after that, Paramount basically made both of the Fleischer brothers step down. and took control of the studio and cut tons of costs. And so that's why, you watch the early Popeye, and early Popeye is so cool and amazing. That's Fleischer Studios. The change that Paramount did is they changed the name to Famous Studios, and it was totally a subsidiary of Paramount Pictures. And they cut corners, fired most of the artists, tried to make, didn't try very hard, but they tried to carry on with Superman, with Popeye, with Betty Boop, with all of that. But it was just a much lower budget. All the artists were basically gone. And so, but the Superman that we watched, it's not terrible. I mean, it's still pretty good, but I mean, if you compare it with some of the earlier stuff, I mean, just the Art Deco amazingness of the designs and like you say, the hand painted colors, and just it's so gorgeous. It's just so gorgeous. And so yeah, that's kind of, if you're looking for old cartoons, especially in this vein, Fleischer Studios is the shit, and Famous Studios is actually shit for the most part. So, but the Superman cartoon that we watched was really cool. It was kind of a dumbed down version of the Fleischer's one, but still very cool. The designs are all there. It was fun, and so still really cool to watch.
I thought it was funny that in both of the animated shorts we saw before the main course, they renamed the dead person, so it was King Tush,
right?
And then
why?
And then in the Fangface, it was like Malazuma.
Yeah, Malazuma.
So
it's
weird.
not like, and that's why I was wondering. I'm like, this isn't copyrighted. This isn't like TM. So I was wondering if they did Tush because maybe that was kind of when, Ripley's kind of talked more about the curse and all of that. So maybe it was just like, oh no, we don't want to mention it. So we're going to change it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speculation.
That was weird. But yes, I mean, the story is pretty slight. It was like a 7.5 minute short. So he's mostly Clark Kent through the whole thing.
Right.
He just turns into Superman at the very, very end. And I don't remember, was it even a proper mummy, or was it more like animated Egyptian? It was like the slaves who drank poison when the king died.
Yeah.
Reanimated and so we're kind of like living statues almost with like Egyptian garb on.
Yeah,
right?
Not really a proper mummy wrapped,
Yeah. But I think you were saying at the start that they had recently remastered all of those and that people were kind of bummed that they looked too clean now. Like they cleaned up some of the hand painted feel and kind of just upsampled them, and they look too like unnatural now or something.
Yeah, that's what I had read. And yeah, like you, I'd love to A/B some of that stuff and have, see side by side stills. But yeah, that's what I don't know. I had read this big article about it that it was just a huge deal. Like the people that really care about this shit and that would be buying like a perfect Blu-ray copy of these were just like, what the fuck is this?
That's a nightmare, man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Because I would love to see all those. I haven't seen all of them. I've seen most of them here and there over the years, but I don't think I've ever actually seen them all. Because that would make a great Saturday afternoon when it's rainy afternoon. So I watch all those Supermans, the original 8 or whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton of exposure to rotoscoping, really. I mean, here and there, and some things like the Lord of the Rings stuff that Ralph Bakshi did in the 70s, the late 70s, and Fire and Ice that Frazetta designed stuff. That's rotoscoping.
And that stuff looks great, but compared to the men that invented it, fucking in the early 30s to mid 30s, you're looking at it's perfection. It looks so good. Like it looks crazy good.
Yeah. And I could tell from like one of the shots where it was the museum curator or whatever, like walking Clark Kent through there, you could just see like it looked smudgy and just kind of like a little slapdash compared to like in my mind what Fleischer Superman looked like. So when you said that was it was Famous Studios and not Fleischer, that explained it to me. So
no, your memory is right on, because the God, they're so gorgeous. I don't know exactly where they're at streaming. I'm sure they're somewhere.
I think they're almost all on YouTube, just kind of
Are they just on
public
YouTube?
domain or gray area, just like no one's really pushing. Who knows? I mean, those were the late 30s, right?
Yeah.
Mostly. Interesting. And then we moved on to kind of the opposite of that, which is Fangface. We've seen Fangface a couple times. This is our third Fangface as a bonus show feature.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, it was Fangface. I mean, it's such a weird show. I don't know why I have such an affinity for it. That and Drac Pack I loved when I was a little kid. Obviously, when you go back and revisit anything that you were passionate about as a 6-year-old is going to be stupid.
It's always stupid.
It's even more stupid than it should be. But God, it's amusing in such a stupid way. I mean, I was genuinely laughing through the whole, not the way the creators are probably intended, but I was chuckling the whole way through because it's so bizarrely bad. Pugs and the two Fangface, whatever I forgot his human form name. Fangsworth, but Pugsley, the weird like Brooklyn-y like Bowery Boys type of guy. Those two guys together are so idiotic that you laugh in spite of yourself almost.
It's so bad and so bizarre. Like, yeah, I know that you have the nostalgic, dopamine release when you see Fangface 2. I don't remember. I never saw it until you showed me an episode, but I'm liking it more and more because it's just the stupidest fucking thing I think that's ever been made. It's so amazing. Like, just the fact that I just don't think, I mean, he's a werewolf. I don't think he ever turns into Fangface with the actual moon.
No, not that we've seen.
It's a picture. So he changes into this werewolf if he sees a picture of the moon, and he'll change back if he sees a picture of the sun, like on a fucking orange juice box or something, or like a laundry detergent. And then so that Red?
I think of this one, they were flying to where the ship was, and I think they did see the actual moon. And he turned into the werewolf in the plane, and they were all, or the helicopter, and they were all surprised. Like, you're flying at night. Like, why? How did you not think this through? The thing that I was laughing about the most this time, this way point, I was like, wow, like, you guys usually drink when a new superpower is introduced. Like, I swear they just keep making up like things. Like, what was the thing they added in? Like, if he sees food, or
if
what
he
was
sees food, he puts his buddy entirely in his mouth. That is new. I think it was
Pugsley.
He eats Pugsley if he sees food.
What?
Oh
God,
my
that was
God.
Weird.
It was so weird. I like that. It's funny. Jason Feinstone, is always at our watch-alongs as our great friend. And I know he's the only other person that like loved Fangface from when he was a little kid. And I think even he commented on it. He's like, I don't remember this part of the lore.
Oh my God.
But you're right. They just add shit willy-nilly for no reason. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I mean, just any Scooby-Doo type of thing, just picture that, but just a slightly lower budget, slightly less tolerable, much broader, and that's saying something. Broad.
Yeah, it is.
A broad version of Scooby-Doo.
Wow.
So I'm not gonna lie, I would like to be able to say that I'm not gonna make you watch anymore, but I'm gonna make you watch more.
I'm all for it now. This was the one that turned it around for. I mean, I think the first two, I was like, all right, this is dumb. I get it. And this one, I'm like, I'm on board now.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I'm in.
Jason did mention that he would like me to program some Drac Pack, and that is another one that I was obsessed with, which was the premise, if you guys don't know, is Dracula's like descendant is also a vampire, but he wants to atone for his forefathers' sins. He has a werewolf and a Frankenstein monster friend that are also like, so basically they're trying to right the wrongs of their grandparents or something by being good guys.
Yeah.
Idiotic. I thought it was really, really cool. I wrote a paper about it in first grade. The way kids do when you like, make up a story and tell us a story. And you're like, and then Dracula did this, and then Frankenstein did this, and then the Wolfman did this. And then like, oh, I just wrote down an episode of a TV show. I didn't make a story.
Oh, but you got an A on that.
I'm sure I did.
That set a bad precedent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Where all
Well,
the
there's
limbs look like
drawings.
hot dogs. Everybody looks like they're made out of
Yeah.
hot dogs, different colors. So yeah, I mean, Fangface is Fangface. You can find that one too. It's called A Creep from the Deep. And despite the title, it's about a mummy, a Mexican mummy named Malazuma.
Underwater.
So we went on to the main course, which was an episode 9, I believe, of season 5 of Tales from the Crypt. I didn't even realize it ran for 5 years. I always liked that show. I never had cable until I was in my 30s. I don't think I ever had paid for TV in my life, so I never got to see it. I'd see it like sleeping over at a friend's house occasionally or whatever. But yeah, what was your relationship with Tales from the Crypt, the HBO series?
I watched it when I was I think I watched it with my dad, which my mom would not be into that, being the strict Jehovah's Witness, and
Right.
I was raised pretty strict Jehovah's Witness, but my dad wasn't. And so when I was a little kid, I watched Elvira with him, and when I was older, we would watch Tales from the Crypt. So we never paid for cable. My dad stole it constantly, and not with like one of those boxes. He would just go out to the street to like the cable box or up on the pole, and would just go and would just wire it up for our house. And we would have it for years. And then finally someone would figure it out and be like, oh, and unhook it. They just go back and do it again.
That's so awesome. So if like any maintenance happened, they would just disconnect it. Then he would just go out and do it again in another 3 years. That's so funny.
It was amazing. And so he really liked that show. And so, yeah, I watched a lot of that.
Yeah. So that was, I remember that being like, it was HBO, so there was frequently nudity and some violence, and so it was kind of edgy at the time. And that was always something I would kill to watch whenever I could. But yeah, I had no idea. This was aired on November 10th of 1993, so I was in my freshman year in college. I had no idea it was still on at that point. But yeah, this is episode is called Creep Course, and you can find this on YouTube fully. I've seen it multiple uploads. Sometimes it's divided up into 3 10-minute clips. Remember back when YouTube had to be 10-minute long clips? So it's been around for a while, and they have not pulled it down. But I've seen a full one that's a full 27 minutes or whatever. Yeah, so this is based on a story from Haunt of Fear number 23 from the original EC Comics. And it was drawn by Graham Engels, and it was co-plotted by Al Feldstein and Bill Gaines. So the big wigs of all the great stories from the EC horror comics wrote this original story. And I'm throwing up a little bit of art from the original one here. The art is by Graham Engels, like I said. So did I say that?
Yep.
So we reference him frequently on the show whenever something looks particularly gritty and grotesque and beautifully nasty. We'll often say it looks like a Graham Engels style thing. And
yeah,
you can see a little bit of like what that actually looks like if you're not a fan of the old EC comics.
Yeah,
this story
with colors by Marie Severin, who colored basically every single EC comic for many years.
Right. Yeah, good call. Marie Severin, massively talented artist and colorist. Yeah, so this one starred, had a pretty decent cast here. It had someone who Jacob and I were talking before the show kind of started, that we really respected his work, but it turned out that he was a creep. Jeffrey Jones. You might know him from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He played the principal. What's he most famous? Beetlejuice. He was the dad in Beetlejuice.
Those are his big ones. Yeah, I mean, we loved him in Ed Wood.
Yeah, he's amazing in Ed Wood. He was in this film I was telling Jacob about, directed by, I think it's Antonia Bird, called Ravenous from 1999. It is one of those like go-to like rare horror recommendations that like, it should have a huger following, but it doesn't for some reason. It's set in the post-Civil War expansion of the U.S. into the West. It's a great, strange black comedy horror film starring Guy Pearce and Jeffrey Jones. Please check that out if you can find it. It's really good. But yeah, so unfortunately, Ravenous was made in 1999. I think in 2001, Jeffrey Jones was busted for possession of child pornography and soliciting sexually explicit photos from a 14-year-old. So that was a bummer, because he's a great character actor. I think he's a massively talented comic actor. His stuff in Ferris Bueller and I mean all the stuff we've listed is absolutely amazing. So it's really upsetting to find out that he's a person who's cursed with demons to make him a terrible person.
Yep. It's really bad.
Sexual proclivities. Yeah. So that was tough. But this also stars Anthony Michael Hall, who, was on SNL, and he was the first Rusty Griswold. He was in Weird Science, all kinds of stuff. He was also in Edward Scissorhands, which was one of his first comeback movies after a while. But in this one, much like he did in Edward Scissorhands, he plays kind of a jock asshole. He plays like I think he's the quarterback of the football team. The premise here, I thought this story was great, by the way.
It is great.
So Jeffrey Jones plays Professor Finley, and he's teaching this Egyptology, archaeology class. And Anthony Michael Hall plays Reggie Skolnick, who is the jock who needs a passing grade on the upcoming midterms, or he can't play in the big game.
Yep.
And the other star is Nina Simasko. And she is the sister of Casey Simasko, who you might know from Young Guns or 3 O'Clock High. He was in a ton of stuff too, but that's where I know him from, is those two movies. I loved 3 O'Clock High when I was in high school. I rent that all the time. So she plays the smart student, and the jock goes to her and says, "Hey, help me study for this thing. I got to pass so I can play the game." And we're not going to spoil this because, again, this is on YouTube. I'd recommend you go watch it. But
for sure,
in typical EC Comics fashion, there's twists, there's turns, there's the table turns, the wheel turns. People aren't who you think they are. But the long and short of it is that Professor Finley has in his stately manse on campus a full, complete burial tomb of an Egyptian god or Egyptian king, priest or whatever, in his basement. Fully intact, torches burning and everything, with a mummy in it, in a sarcophagus. And all these players get in place, it's like a game of chess, and everyone shows up and things happen, and there's surprises and twists and turns, and I'm not going to spoil any of it. But I had a blast with this.
I did too. No, this whole night of programming, especially playing Tales from the Crypt at the end was great. So claw up for me. Yeah.
Good time. You mentioned that we need to watch the Johnny Quest, classic Johnny Quest episode with a mummy in it. So we'll do another little thing. I did find a strange 70s mummy movie that I wanted to program, but I scrubbed through it a little bit this week. And there was a couple of things I can't abide by. I can abide by a skosh of rapey, creepy stuff. But when it's the rapey, creepy thing, and then the rape becomes enjoyed by the victim, I can't do that. It fucking sends me through the roof. And so this is so sleazy. I can't do it. So no matter what psychotronic weirdness there's there and what kind of fun could be had with it, I can't do the rape victim getting into the rape thing.
No, that wouldn't be fun on the watch along.
No, and it wouldn't be fun to watch. There was multiple prolonged scenes of it, and I was just like, all right, I don't even know if I want to watch this for fun on the side. It's just gross. So not sure what we're gonna do next, but I think I might do another little thing like this and make it a threefer, like a short Johnny Quest, a something, and a something short like this, similar. I think that was kind of fun.
Well, I think I sent you the link on some kind of Hanna-Barbera fan wiki.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing. It's just mummies. And then there's 20 Hanna-Barbera cartoons that have the mummy as the antagonist. So it's just I love this. This is great.
Was Alex Toth the character designer for Johnny Quest, or who did the character designs? Do you remember?
Shit, I can't remember exactly what his name is. Alex Toth was C-Lab for sure.
Oh,
and he probably worked on
I know
Johnny
Space
Quest
Ghost
as well. Yeah, and Space Ghost. So, I should know. But I love Johnny Quest. I have the Blu-ray. I have the complete. It's great. Alicia and I were talking. We were watching some YouTube video that was the 50 Hanna-Barbera theme songs, and so we were going through the entire history of Hanna-Barbera, just theme song wise. And Johnny Quest is always going to be the top for me. It's just so fucking cool.
I like Johnny Quest. It was never on when I was a kid, in reruns. I would see it here and there, but I actually knew it more from trying to think who printed Grendel, Pacifico Comics, or it was some small imprint that had Johnny Quest in the late 80s and was either, I think, doing new stuff. And so I kind of knew them mostly from then. And then we were talking recently too, like you were saying, I didn't even realize they rebooted Johnny Quest in the 90s. I was watching that. Like I was probably 13 or 14, I feel like too old, but like, like I'll have a bowl of cereal before I go out and skate. And then it's Johnny Quest. I mean, you can't not watch Johnny Quest. So I did watch the reboot of Johnny Quest, but like the old ones, I love them when I see them, but I've never seen all of them. Like, it's a pretty big hole in my personal TV filmography.
Oh, they're great. I mean, they're super repetitive and weird and kind of problematic, but there's, a lot of natives, a lot of problematic stuff that is going to run through it. But it's beautiful. It's beautifully drawn. It's really cool. It has such a cool vibe, has an amazing theme song. And, if you're a Venture Brothers fan, I mean, my God, going through and watching the old Johnny Quest, you're going to pick up, 100 references.
Right. I mean, that is the springboard for the entire show.
For the entire show. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. I love it. So, yeah, there's a Mummy episode of that. And then, I was looking on that list. I'm just like, the Hair Bear Bunch had a Mummy episode. It's just like the most idiotic, like throwaway Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Like,
I'm not remembering
I swear to God, there's 20. I mean, you saw that list, right?
Oh yeah,
it just went on and on.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, we could program just a Hanna-Barbera night of
What's
Mummy
the Hair Bear
stuff.
Bunch?
It was like late 60s, just a bear with an afro. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or do they speak with a African American dialect, like a
jive dialect? Hopefully not. No, I don't remember it, but we saw it on the theme song comp we were watching on YouTube, and so many. It was great. Like, it was great to see this because it goes through every single Hanna-Barbera, and every like fifth one was a success, and the rest were just throwing shit at the wall.
Right.
And then also being like, oh, Scooby-Doo succeeded. Let's make a dozen Scooby-Doo clones, whether it's, Funky Phantom or Speed Buggy or just like over and fucking over again. Jabberjaw. Like, let's just make Scooby everything. Let's make him a shark. Let's make him a fucking talking car. Like, it's so good. It's great.
Yeah. And then like every fifth one is also like some wildly racist thing, like Chan Clan or whatever.
Oh,
like
God. Yeah, when we saw the Chan Clan, we're like, oh no, I forgot about this. God damn, this is bad.
Back when racism was okay.
Yeah. Even though Hong Kong Phooey gets a pass for me because it's
because he's a dog.
It's Scatman Carruthers. It's Scatman fucking Carruthers.
He gets a pass for anything.
He does. He can do anything. I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. That's why I like the movie Zapped.
Yeah.
Starring Sir Scott Baio, because he plays the custodian who smokes grass and cusses out all the Ofays.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so we'll figure out what that is, but it's going to be something fun like what we've watched. And I'm going to throw links into the YouTube here on the Patreon link for this bonus show so people can watch these individual videos we're talking about just so they don't have to rely on the clips that were in the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing here is I just want to plug a Kickstarter that's going on. I know this is time sensitive and some people are diving in here in the future, but that's okay because this guy's stuff he can buy even after the campaigns are finished. So people who've been listening to the bonus show from the beginning probably remember this guy named Matt Emmons, who I found through a comp. I think I've also talked about Dagger Dagger, the first sci-fi fantasy anthology. That's, I think, where I first found him. And then I backed Gardener, which I definitely covered on the show, which is a poignant, strange, poetic sci-fi movie about a robot that's kind of visiting this abandoned human colony on another planet in the distant future. That type of stuff I'm just a sucker for. I backed another project he did called The Council of Frogs, which we're going to do on a future Kickstarter catch-up. I need to send Jacob the PDF so he can read this and do it too. It's kind of like a weird Tolkien, like Lord of the Rings type of thing meets like Wind in the Willows or something.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
I love that shit. But the thing that he is backing now, it got funded within the first like 3 hours of its launch. So it's already, if you choose to back this, folks, you're going to get it. First of all, I've backed multiple of his things. They all come out immediately. No problem. He's already into the 4th stretch goal. But the project is a graphic novella called The Winter King. And it is a wordless graphic novel about a coyote surviving during a strange post-apocalyptic winter. And just like the one image here I'm showing is like, this coyote standing on the top of like a muscle car covered in snow in this desolate just wasteland. And it just immediately piques my interest. I love his vision. I love his pacing. There's everything is just kind of strange, meditative, like haiku kind of vibe that's just gorgeous and simplistic. And I really encourage everyone to do it. I can guarantee you we're going to cover it on a future Kickstarter catch-up, just like we're going to do that Council of Frogs here soon. There's several levels to back. I think it's $20 if you want to get the 100-page graphic novel physically. It's $10, I think, if you want to get just the PDF. And then beyond that, you can get cool stuff. There's shirts with his art on it, and every conceivable permutation of that. The book, the PDF, the shirt, the blah blah blah. His past things, some one shots he's done, Gardener, Dagger, all that stuff. If you're a comic shop owner, you can buy bundles of it, severely marked down as a retailer package. So please check out The Winter King. If you haven't, check out Gardener, and just check out Matt Emmons' work. Second at Best, I think, is the name of his imprint that he uses, and I'm just a huge fan of his work. So that was just my little plug there.
Oh, I'm excited for that. Yeah, well, you loaned me Gardener, and it blew my mind. It was so beautiful, and the printing of it is so beautiful. The hardcover and just everything is just fucking awesome. So yeah, I'll read anything that guy does, honestly.
Cool. Well, I will send you the Council of Frogs, and we'll get on that next because we are behind on some Kickstarter catch-ups. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's time to catch up.
And Palomino, I mean, you don't want to get spooked by having a really good book on the, you need to just keep moving forward.
Yep.
Right. Can't be scared that they're not all going to be as good as that, because that's not fair.
No.
Cool. All right. I think we're covered.
Cool. Well, that was a good bonus show. So yeah, I'm excited for our watch along. And then our live episode. We're going to do a live episode this week, which is going to be super fun. So yeah, if you're a patron and you're listening to this, then try and join us on our live shows. They're really fun. We're starting to give stuff away. And also I'm going to plug our Discord, because I do it every time. I hope I'm not a broken record, but our Discord is amazing, and our watch alongs are so much fun. And we have a real core group, but sometimes we get a lot of people. But we have such a core group that have become, that I really consider close friends. It's so cool. And it's so cool for me, because I don't live in Portland anymore. I don't have a community. I'm surrounded by fucking hillbillies and weird people. And so, the watch-alongs are really a recharge for me, for my soul, to be around people that, have similar likes and aren't crazy Trumpers. So, it's a lifesaver for me. So I'm sure it can be enjoyable for other people. So yeah, please join us on Discord.
Yeah, and I look forward to them as well. I mean, Renee's been joining us. She hasn't been the last few times, but she loves doing it. She loves seeing everybody that's on there and saying hi. And like you said, it's just fun just connecting with people and just having a good time watching something weird. So it's just something that we kind of just bank on as a way to, in the weekend, just to kind of recharge for the coming week. And
seriously,
it's always a highlight of the weekend for me. So
yeah, me too.
Folks will check it out.
For sure. But if not, I'm glad you're listening to the bonus show, whether you're watching it or listening to it, the audio version. And so you know our sign off straight from the Son of Satan season. Damon Hellstrom lives in our hearts. That's why at the end of the bonus show, we say, Hail Satan.
Hail to the Satan.